Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. We created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other. This is a sisterhood where we support each other and grow together. With that, I'm so happy today to have Dr. Ghazala Jabeen, who will be presenting Women in Different Cultures. She will be exploring women with their unique experiences in their roles, their challenges and their triumphs in a different, capacity, different worldwide women in different culture. It sometimes can be difficult when it comes to equality, equality and empowerment. So, with that, Dr. Ghazala Jabeen, thank you for being here and all of you for joining us. And if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and why this topic is so important to you.
Thank you so much. First of all, Rini, thank you for having me here as your speaker today on a subject that is a very important subject as we see the changing world we're in. And a big hello and a welcome to all our sisters on the call here today as well. So a little bit about myself. Yes, Dr. Ghazala Jabeen is my official title, but by my friends, they call me Gaz, which I'm quite happy with. Gaz, simple enough. So please feel free to call me Gaz. I'm based in North Wales in the United Kingdom, and Wales is obviously a separate country. We were just talking about that. You've got Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales. So I'm in the North Wales area. I've been here for about nearly 30 years now. So yeah, quite some time. But just to share with you why this subject is, I think, important for us to share today, because we do go through challenges in all areas of our life. And today it's great to take a closer look with a magnifying glass of what really creates the success that we share today and what we've gone through. Because again, it's not been an easy road, but is how do we navigate through life's challenges and how do we embrace the triumphing moments of ours in the success that we share, and how do we want to be seen to the outside world, is what do we aspire to be seen as for people, and how do we lead that role model not only for our peers at work, but also I want to cover sort of my own single solo journey of my inner belief and faith and strength that's carried me. I want to share with you motherhood, because it's been quite a challenging space, the motherhood space for me as well, and also in being a wife and becoming a widow as well, and what has happened in my life, that that why did I write the book, that it was, there were more tears on the page than there was ink, and how difficult was that for a write-up in my life. And I've written many articles, many training programs for many years, but that was the most difficult part that I actually ever wrote. So I'm going to share that. I also want to gonna give you an insight into how I became the peace ambassador for the United Nations, and also within being that, being a spokesperson as an ambassador for, as a beautiful survivor. And when I say beautiful survivor, I don't mean looks, I mean about how it takes someone to come through putting yourself on the neck, on the lifeline, or should I say on the death line. How do we navigate out of that neck being on that ready for the chop? Yeah, so it's literally has been a roller coaster of that. And my friends laugh at me and they're like, you haven't got enough space on your mantelpiece for all these awards, Gaz. Because it's not been I've gone out to get them. What I have done is followed my true inner self and my belief, and followed through the journey, good, bad, and ugly. And I've really tried to always look at some kind of area that somebody lifts me, or who am I being lifted by? Who can I lift also that actually need me in the process as well? So let's give you a little brief of it. So yes, I'm a mama of three children. Thankfully, they're all grown and left the nest, which is actually sad in some ways because they've taken the cats and the dog. So what little bit of extra furry company I had has also been, my daughter said to me, she said, Mum, you do know that the cats were mine anyway. I paid for them. I said, well, I did look after them. So she said, yeah, but they're going to go with me, Mum, just so you know. So don't get too attached. But you're going to have to learn to sort of say goodbye to them. So yeah, so my little Sushi the cat and Tizzy
Oh,
the cat and Buddy the dog, off they went. It was like they came in two by two and went three by three out. So that was something. But so yeah, so let me just start my little bit of an insight. And within my story that I'm going to share with you of my journey, I'm going to give you nuggets of how did I overcome it and what things are good to look at that's hopefully will help you. And then I'll like to open up as well later for Q&A so that I can, any challenge areas that you've got that I'd love to share how I help, mentor, coach people. I coach people from a business point of view, individual point of view, as a fitness point of view, and also in general life's path when we progress on from certain points as well. So, uh, yeah, so I was born in Pakistan. I didn't speak a word of English. I was living mostly with my grandma out in the village life. And when it was a time for my father wanted his children over in the UK because he was in the UK. So I traveled with my mum and my two brothers, and we came over to the UK. And the part of that whole experience, if you like, was the language issue now. We have a language issue because I've just suddenly, I've left a lantern lit village life, and suddenly I end up at a Heathrow airport, which is like Blackpool lights everywhere, or Vegas lights everywhere, from little oil lit lantern to all these lights on the motorway coming out. It was quite a shock because it's a whole different space that you've suddenly moved into, like TARDIS. You've jumped into there and you've come out somewhere else, and you're just trying to understand the lay of the land. So when I started, again, I couldn't speak English at all, not one single word. And I went to school, but again, with this one, I call it the buddy system. I was fortunate that my cousin was already here in the UK, and she was able to help navigate me to from the language of my Asian language, which is Punjabi and Urdu. And she was able to help me sentence things together. So so that my first sentence that I learned with her help, which is again transition, that transition that you make is who can help you to cover your area of language, their area of language, or the understanding of it that can just get you across the bridge. So she said, so my first sentence that I got together, I'm very proud of it. I still use it massively to this day, is I want this. That's what I learned. I want this. I never stopped at all to this point, and I shall continue saying, I want this. And I always get it. So there's also a personality that we have within our characters as well, that some of us, well, one thing I've learned over the years is that people have said to me, well, you've been quite confident to follow this, do this, that, and the other. How is it that I can't or we can't, but you seem to go through it easily? I think also is, well, I believe, and you may differ, but if you want something so much, like you have a feeling attached to that want, that your desire won't settle, you won't rest until you find out. It's like that curious child will not settle until they know what's what about it. They just keep going on and on and on and on and until they've got it and they're like, they can breathe. So for me, the desire was to learn because I was empowered by one sentence. So what does empower us? What is it that empowers us, kind of fuels us, that makes the heart go, yeah, I like that. Next level. It's like the game you play, your next level growth, next level growth. So again, we look at what we do in our life. And when we look at something or a decision we make, we look at things like when we think about a deciding space of time of shall I do this or shall I not? How it's helped me is that when I say, shall I do this? And I suddenly find myself frowning, getting nervous, my stomach churning and clamming up, and I got a frown and worried look. That's a no. That's a no, because my body's speaking to me. So, but when I get something that sort of I look at and I think, yeah, I like, and then I sit up and I smile and my chest goes out and I feel my shoulders back and I've got a smile and I've got that butterfly happy feeling in my guts. They say the gut is your second brain. So I always say, I think with my head, which is the logic, I feel from my heart, which is the feeling connected, and my gut is the one that's the indicator for my body language to speak to me. So that helps me make some great decisions. And with that intuitive side and those listening to my body, is helped me make some great decisions in life. So, as I say, from coming at 6.5 years of age, I was 10 years of age when I could speak the language. So that was my first part of overcoming a barrier, and that was a language. And I then was drawing more to learning more, reaching out, reading books, and education. We know it's a lifelong learning, and I was reading every book. And the next part that was my next level of empowerment was in secondary school. So now I'm quite good with my Englishes, and I want this and I want that and I want this, that, and the other, and it just never stops. So I really got the flow of this, right? So in my secondary school, my dad came back, and I'm living in a Muslim background. And Muslim background is head covered, body covered, do not expose any part of your body, and it's your restricted zone of cultural limitations. So my dad came back from secondary school meeting, parents meeting with school teachers, and he said, "Oh, you'll be glad to know that you'll be able to wear your Asian outfit, which is your head covered, not quite an hijab, but your head covered, and you will be able to wear your traditional salwar and kameez outfit at school as uniform in navy and white." And I looked at my dad, I went, "You don't think I'm going to wear that, do you, at school? I'm not. What? Dad, stop it." My dad was horrified that how dare I to speak up? How dare I to speak up with this shameful self of mine? He says, "Why do you say this? Are you arguing?" I said, "No, Dad, I'm not arguing. I'm just trying to tell you, I don't need to wear that. I'm covered nicely anyway. Why would I need to wear that, Dad? I've got a pinafore dress, I've got trousers on, I've got a blouse on, I'm very well covered. I don't see why I have to wear anything in that style, because if you're talking about the Quran, this style is a Pakistani cultural style dress that was not in the Quran. So really, it's not. So because I've been doing my homework. I'm clever little me been doing my homework to learn some of this stuff. So I said, and anyway, Dad, I'm not going to argue, but I would like for us to sit down on Friday, because I want you to choose a day in the week, say about 10:30 to 11. And when you drop us off at school, I want you to go about 10:30, 11 at the back of the gates. And then I would like you just to sit and observe. And then on Friday, we can have a chat about it. Then you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's what he did. He went and he chose a day. I didn't know, Friday meeting with Dad, sat down, and his head was down. I said, "Do you see what I mean, Dad? So these lovely Muslim girls coming from the holy priests of the community, and their girls being preached and taught about this, that, and the other. Guess what? They've gone into school front gates with a headscarf covered with all the traditional outfit. At the break time, they've gone out, the costumes, the whole Asian outfit was out of the window, and they were there meeting up with their boyfriends and down in with their cars and then off school." So you see, Dad, I don't need an outfit to be a good girl. The good girl's in my heart, not an outfit. And you haven't seen me miss a single thing in school, and all my exams, I've qualified in every single part. So I think, Dad, you will agree I have a valid enough reason why I don't need to wear it. Blow me. That was a voice of mine. I don't know how. I had the courage. I was expecting my dad to smack me around the ear hole, actually. But he said, I can't argue with that, my darling. He said, "I can't argue with that. However, I'm going to get it in the neck from the community when we fought for this." Anyway, long and short of it is they said, "Mr. Qayyum, your daughter's very outspoken, and she's all this hard work we did." And he said, "Yeah, but my daughter's got a valid reason as well. So really, just as long as they got themselves well respected in their, going to school and everything, that's fine." So that then made me realize the next level of growth was that if I believe in something strong enough, nobody can ever take your pilot light out. You speak with confidence because you're coming from a true, solid belief and inner belief that you can speak on any stadium, anywhere, anyhow, because you actually truly feel it, believe it, and nobody can stop that voice. That's a voice, I call it a voice of reason. Thank you, Sandra. So that then went in from from my childhood to England, my school education upbringing. Now we come into the world of work. The world of work now, after studies, compulsory school, my dad decided that that was enough, really. And I said to my brother, I'm going to do college, actually. I think I'm going to go to college and then probably university, maybe. I don't know. My brother said, don't be so silly. You don't understand, you're a Pakistani girl. You're going to get sent to Pakistan and get married to some elephant driver. What do you want about? Study further. Don't talk so daft. I said, shut up. I am not marrying no elephant driver or any bloody camel driver. I'm studying. So my brother said, well, your problem is you're getting too big for your boots. And at this rate, you're going to get a smack. I said, what? Yeah, you're gonna get a smack in your face for getting too outspoken. I said, and who's gonna do that? He said, I am if you keep carrying on that you're gonna study further. I said, I'm gonna study further. Long and behold, the straight over, I got a smack straight in my face. My brother physically punched me, nearly broke my cheekbone. He hit me hard. Yeah, he did. So I was out of school and everything. And guess what? He couldn't punch out my pilot light. No way. The fuel was strong within me. And I said, you're not my dad and you can't stop me. And I studied secondary school. I studied further. I went to university. I carried on. And to this day, nobody's been able to put my light out because the belief in me was strong. So when the world of work, most of it, they tell you that you got to stay behind and be a good Muslim wife. And I'm like, I can be a good Muslim person and still go out to work and still do great things. And I've been able to do great things. My dad used to call me, when he realized, that's right, I have this here. That point there, Sandra. Um, somebody said to me once, exactly on that line, you're like the big sister of Malala. Malala Yousafzai, right? Young Afghanistani girl, an activist for education. And education is what I was fighting for, and I got hit, but it didn't stop me. She fought, her father shot her. She came and she had treatment and she was saved. She became is the youngest to receive a Nobel Peace Prize for being what she is. And when somebody said to me, you remind us of the big sister of Malala, it was quite a beautiful compliment. She got hit by a gunshot. I got hit by a punch in the face. But did that stop us being who we are and leading the way in the bigger world? No. And that again reminds us is we need to be strong from where we come from and what we do and what we stand for and just be a warrior in your life and carry on with it. So yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, Sandra. So great point that you must be reading my notes. So again, that's what happened. And as though kind of my own personal journey wasn't enough. So then the next battle I have, as though a punch in the face was not enough, I now will share with you why I picked up the title of Beautiful Survivors Award, which was received at the Houses of Parliament in the UK. The reason I got this award was that when I was in my working life, I was carrying on my normal studies and everything. I fell in love. It's a nice thing, right? You would think, and nice thing. Yes, I fell in love, but unfortunately for my parents and my society and my culture, I fell in love with an Englishman. Now we're asking for a major problem. So now we're asking for a problem because that is not the done thing for a Muslim girl. She has an arranged marriage, listens to what parents say, you go with the flow, cultural limitations, don't speak, don't say, don't do anything, and just nod and go with the flow. Was a girl like Ghazala Jabeen going to do that? So I fell in love with Martin. And Martin said, so I don't know about you, but I love you and I want to marry you. How do I go about it asking for your hand in marriage from your dad? I said, well, if you want your neck on the chopping block and have it chopped off and beheaded, you go right ahead and speak to my dad straight away. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Don't you get it? I'm a Muslim girl. It's so very difficult. He said, he said, we're in the UK. We're a civilized country. I said, Muslims have not a very civilized mindset, some of them. They are very extremist when it comes to it. And you're going to die, I'm going to die, so let's not, eh? He said, no, I love you and we're going to go through whatever we need to. I said, but you know that you may have to become a Muslim to marry me to maybe even at least have half a chance? He said, I'll do whatever it takes. I love you, right? So Martin became a Muslim. He became his initials, HMS, Harold Martin Swindells, became Habib Martin Swindells and became a Muslim so that we could have a Muslim wedding. So I had arranged for a Muslim priest to speak to my father to say that this man he wants to marry me, he's becoming Muslim, etc. And the priest, unfortunately, it backfired, and he did not give me the side that I was hoping for, the peer of the community priest that I went to as a young vulnerable to look up to my peers to get their help. But sadly, once again, you are betrayed by your own religious people that you're supposed to look up to, and they hold the community together. The priest said to my dad, your daughter's approached us that she wants to marry a white man. We got to stop this right now, because what kind of message are we going to ripple into our community? All the girls, we want to do that. So the next thing is, long and short of the story, well, I won't go into the full depth because there's a book being written about this and a film going to be made about this as well. But long and short of it was, yes, so firework display happened in my house, and my parents then were arranging for me to be sent to Pakistan shortly after I had said what I said. And I'm leaving a big chunk of this story because I think Reenie's heard some of it before, but the big chunk is for another time. But what happened was, then after I'd said this, after it backfired, my parents wanted to arrange a marriage to send me to Pakistan. They made a phone call to Pakistan and said, we said no to the the whole the arranged marriage, but we're now ready. The girl is ready and we can do this next week. What? Next week? So Martin knew all this, and Martin was still with me to kind of know what to do. But when he realized this had happened, he then, long and short of everything of the story was, he turned up at my work. I didn't know that, but we met up secretly. And he said, just tell me one thing. Do you love me? I said, of course I do. He said, will you marry me? I said, but we can't, what I've just said. He said, no, that's not what I asked. If you could, and it was all right, would you? I said, well, of course. He said, will you do me a favor? I said, what? He says, will you meet me here tomorrow? I said, sure. I said, why? He said, just meet me. So I did. I met him secretly once again the following day. He handed me a piece of paper. I looked at it and I said, what's a special marriage license? He says, we're just going to get married pretty quick, because otherwise, if I don't, they'll be sending you to Pakistan. So he said, meet me on Wednesday. I said, right. And then Thursday, we were going to get married. On the morning of the day that I was going to get married, my stupid car wouldn't work and start, and I couldn't do a runner. So I'm sitting in my car, revving the engine, saying, please, God, let this car actually get on and get going. Eventually, the car revved, and I drove, and I revved it, and I sat at the house and sat at the situation. I looked at my house, and in my own words, I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, I'm having to leave right now. I did try to do it your way, but I know it's not working for me, and one day I hope you'll forgive me. I drove to the top of the road, turned left, parked outside my mosque, my like church, and I left the car running, and I said, God, I ask of you only one thing today. One thing is, let me feel from my heart the strength that I need, the wish that I want is help me see this through. And let me be with the man that's actually giving me an opportunity of life. Give me the strength to follow this through, this journey that I'm about to embark on. I was crying. I prayed and I said, Amen. And I drove off. I met up with Martin. That afternoon, we were married. That evening, we were at the police station. We were at the police station because we knew that at any point the family would turn up and kill us. So our house was put on police protection. The police had emergency codes on all the computer systems. We were in hiding for a few days. And now, to take the chunk of that story away from today, 25 years, Martin and I were married. We celebrated our 25-year silver wedding anniversary. We fought our life together to be together. And we had 3 beautiful children together. And again, it was a part of the culture that we now got children of a mixed marriage. And one of the funniest thing I will share with you is that being a Muslim, I didn't eat pork. Funny thing is, I'm all right with wine. Okay, don't tell me mum that. But anyway, so I quite like that. So the thing about it is that pork was something that I wasn't. So when Martin being an Englishman, so this is how good our marriage worked. So again, now into marital situation, I said to Martin, I know that you're not so religious, although you were Church of England and and all this, but not really practicing. But I'm coming from a Muslim background and I do have faith in my way. But I know that you like your bacon butties and I can't do with pork. I will reluctantly but make you a bacon butty. And I got these tongs and I was just like trying to make this bacon butty and I gave it to him on a plate and he ate it and he said, Wifey, God, for a Pakistani, you don't have to make a good bacon butty, right? Like this. I said, when if you think you're going to kiss me after eating that bacon, you can think again because it's not going to happen. Anyway, so we had this nice understanding that Martin wasn't religious. I was. Martin had the bacon. I didn't. But we were age apart. He was twice my age, Western world, financially well-to-do man. I was coming from Pakistani. So cultures and world and everything was very different, one extreme to the other. And we had 25 years of a happy marriage, and nothing from religion to different cultures to different anything ever got in the way of a beautiful, happy marriage that once loved truly, sincerely, with a love and respect was enough for a lifetime. Never needed to worry if I ever found another person in my life or not. But you know something? My dear Martin sadly passed away with pancreatic cancer. And in just less than 9 days of 3 months of the diagnosis, sadly, I lost Martin. And his dying wish was that I raise awareness for pancreatic cancer so that other families would not lose their loved ones. And he said to me, I wanted you to be my equal. I also know that you came from a culture with limitations. I hope I've been able to support you through the life to give you that. But you know something? I could carry you for so long, but you're a woman of the world. You're a woman that will stand up in any stadium, anywhere in the world, stand right, stand strong, and stand by those people who need that encouragement and support. And if anybody can do it, he said, like the eagle, fly high, soar the sky, do your thing, because the world people need the Gaz out there. And that was his dying words to me. And he said, and if anybody in life in the future decides to embrace you, love you, don't fight it, wifey. You have my permission to embrace love again because I'd want you to be happy. What a gentleman he was, and what great 25 years of beautiful marriage. And when my daughter got married last year and she cried because obviously her father was not there to walk her up the aisle, but she asked me to, that part was sad, but not as sad as her speech when she said, my mum and dad had a love story of their own. I wanted one like theirs. And I'm lucky that Jamie was able to meet Dad, and Dad gave him his blessing, and I'm marrying the man. 10 years ago, my dad passed away. 10 years, Jamie and I have been together, and he's the man that my father gave a yes to, and we get married. When you pass on that good stuff to your children and give them those good guidelines, and you're a great role model even for them because they watch everything and then they actually want to be a part of you. You know, you've done something right, that you fulfill their heart, and they stand and tell the people how proud they are, how much love that they grew up in. And that was important to me. I even said to Martin once, if we ever fall out with each other, we've got to stay together for the children, right? You and I might be worlds apart, different or whatever, but for the children, they must see the good always. Whether you and I differ, let's differ in the corner of a separate room, but not them to see us fight, because that will be something that they take upon them. So what we say in front of other people, especially youngsters, they pick up on every word, program everything in their head. And it's important that everything that comes out of our mouth is being careful on how it's portrayed on the people out there, either vulnerable or young, and they see that and pick it up. So I'm glad we were fortunate to have some good things to pass on. So that was my love story. But moving on from Dear Martin, I've written a book, by the way, which is a #1 bestseller. It's called Loved, Lived, Lost. And my subtitle, In Sickness and in Health Till Death Do Us Part. And that's exactly what we did. I will put my links for you at the end, and then you can certainly check in further about it. So basically, when I told you about the world of work and moving on from motherhood, being a wife and in that relationship space, Martin was my mentor. Sometimes we always need that somebody as a mentor. But in addition, from your inner circle, some of the external places is again an education, is where are you drawn to? Who are you inspired to? Who are the people that if you look at your qualities that you like about yourself, or you like qualities you see that you read or you hear or speak, and then you think, how do I resemble to that? And what is it about what they said that I actually liked? Because there's a reflection of you in what you've liked, what's touched you, because there's a part of you that actually has an inner side that wants to come out because you were touched by those words. And so that's another part where Jim Rohn, great philosopher of America, and when he said, and I'll paraphrase, if you work hard on your job, you'll earn a great living. But if you work hard on yourself, you'll earn a fortune. I like that second bit. So I did not only just work hard on the job, but I studied hard on for myself to be the better person, to look at great things, look at the great role models, the great people. What have they done? How have they done it? And I did stretch my mind so wide, so daring that even from the book that I wrote, when Martin wanted the awareness for pancreatic cancer, I said to myself, he just wanted me to do a little write-up in the local press. It went front cover. I didn't stop at that. I wrote the book. I didn't stop at that. I took everybody to the highest mountain of England and Wales, climbed to the very top to do a high five to Martin and say, hey, you asked me to spread word. I spread it as high as I could in this mountain, as wide as I could, and we've raised £12,000. And you know what? Everybody now, my book is in every continent in the world. And that he would be really proud because he would, again, it's back to if we're going to do something, let's make a mark with it that really people are touched by. Challenges then thereafter, and then I'll come into some questions for you, was being a girl. People think you've got to do girly things. And I decided that apart from my Bollywood dancing I've taught around the world, it was a personal transformation. So Pakistani girl who's supposed to be head to toe covered, I'm now shaking my jinglers on my ass everywhere on different stages and doing my Bollywood dancing around and shaking around and the men there and I'm doing all my strutting my stuff. I'm telling you, this is like, does this girl never stop? I push the limits out. So Pakistani girl doing Indian dance on Western soil to the tops of the mountains, to everything, shaking the shimmy around. Yeah, I got a title with it. Why did I do this? I did this because I wanted to show that we're embracing cultures of the world. We're igniting the East, the country that fought each other, Pakistan killing India, India killing Pakistan, and this girl's taking both of them on. And she takes it to the Western soil. Yeah, through dance and music and love. That's exactly what I did. And I created from my story from being a clinically obese, big mama Gaz, size 18, clinically obese, went to a size 10, size 8 at the lowest. And I performed from three friends that wanted to know my weight loss journey. Three friends, it led to 30,000 strong audience dancing with Apache Pin Indian on a live stadium, multi-platinum selling Boom Shakalaka Baby on the stage. We were doing this dance, which was streamed all over the world. And my profile, Ghazala Jabeen, the Bollywood queen, rose to the top, and everybody wanted me to teach them everywhere. Bangkok had us at the Hyatt Hotel with 1,000 business entrepreneurs of the world dancing to J-Ho in their ball gowns and tuxedos. And absolutely, and I'm stood on the stage on my own, getting everybody boogieing their booty everywhere. It was hilarious, but great. That's how you embrace culture. That's how you take it to the heights, how you get yourself stand up because you believe who you are, what you are, and really let people feel the energy of the confidence in what you believe, what you portray, and you project physical energy that people want to ignite to and work with. And as though that was not enough, because obviously they're like, oh my God, you should be Pakistani girl covered and you're doing all this dance. And I'm like, I haven't finished yet. I've got a lot more to do yet. So then I took on football. So now I'm showing my legs wearing shorts on a pitch, kicking a ball about. If only my mother, she hadn't quite seen that picture of me with my shorts on. So now they're like, what, are you playing a boys' game? And I said, who says it's a boys' game? It's a ball, it's inequality. So the journey of diversity, inclusion, and equality was actually part of the journey for football because the football came into my life to help me with grief journey. because I had shut out when I lost Martin. There was a moment of time when I was in a dark space. And dark spaces is when you find yourself and how do you get out and who helps you out with it. And my football coach, he was a friend actually who was the sponsor of the Bollywood Awards. And he became a very good friend with his wife. They always kept to check in on me, like Gaz has said much, or something on Gaz's Facebook post. Oh, by the way, just aside of that, when you see a Gaz post, which is a happy, jolly Gaz post on social media of mine, in this room, I'm telling you, that's not always the Gaz is happy. That is my shield because I'm dealing with something. But it's my protection shield because as a professional, I'll keep that there. For people who are close to me, know what really goes on. So people say, "Oh, I saw you dancing. I saw you doing it. You're so busy. Life's really good." Actually, that's my protective layer from the world when I don't need people in there because I'm dealing with something. So people don't always know. So that's why sometimes we project for the wrong reasons. Sometimes we project for protection. And that's how I've projected in my social media, but always in a way where it's a good light, but never to reprimand anybody. There were many things that people have said and done, but I never reprimand anything. I take that off the page and deal with that as a professional. I see so many people use social media as a slanging match, and that's the wrong thing ever. And a professional should never do that anyway. Just like a husband and wife have an argument, shouldn't have one in front of other people, take it off in the bedroom maybe and tackle it out with a feather pillow. But there you are, pillow fight. But yeah, so football came on the scene. And so these friends of mine, Chris Roberts, his wife, they knew something was wrong with me. And I can share this with you, and my story is quite public. So I had gone through many different bouts of darkness because as much as I was doing great stuff and great success, I was having bouts of grief that really were eating me up because I felt, oh, yes, I'm doing all that, but I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I don't really have the love of life anymore. I really don't really want to be around. And I was being around for my kids, but what happened was when I went for blood tests, because I had an underactive thyroid through my campaign, I got quite poorly. I was diagnosed with a brain disease. I was in hospital with scans happening. A lot of things were going on, and I have a lifetime limiting condition in my brain that is monitored every year. I have a brain scan, and I'm on medication for life. Every day for me is a lifeline. So with all that going on and I was going for blood test, I was very low. I said to the nurse, in fact, I said to her, I'm a blood donor. Why don't you just take the whole lot of my blood? For somebody else's life might benefit, because right now I'm done. I just didn't want to be around. And people really never realize the smile of the Gaz was she's crying inside because she's missing Martin. The children have flown the nest. I'm alone in the big house. I've done great, successful things. But I felt like now I don't really know what to live for. I didn't know what to live for, and that's why I asked. And then I had an emergency doctor call me because they were concerned about my lifeline because of my mindset. Mental health is a very difficult situation. And football was where they took me to the pitch and asked me to kick about because they saw this difficult time. I said, I don't know about football. I don't know how to play football. I don't know anything. I just know it's a round ball. My son plays football and I watch him as a mum. So I started to kick a ball about, and the ball kicking about led to being part of a team. 3 girls. We now got 50 ladies in our women's football team. 50 ladies came into it. I became the marketing girl because all my training I did of marketing. And I also knew the one thing, no matter how good what you got, if you don't market well with a message that people want to connect up and be part of it, you lose the plot. Nobody knows. You can have the rubbish, crappiest thing ever, but if marketing's done clever, you can actually sell like hotcakes. But you can have the very best of something, a pen that writes gold ink, but if you don't market well, it ain't going to work well. So I did my job for thanking the football group ladies for bringing a little bit of life in my soul. And I did marketing for them. We did put pictures, and I was just happy to see myself in a football gear sharing that out and everything, the world of football became quite shining lights. The North Wales Dragons women's football team, we started to do tournaments. We then went to do a big tournament in Manchester with 65 women's group around the UK. That was all gender equality. It was LGBT full on tournament. Well, everything. So I just want to share with you some areas of embracing this and also areas of concern. So Muslim girl now going to changing rooms in an LGBT type of setup. for me was a bit of a challenge because I didn't know if it was a man that's now become a woman or a woman that's a man, and now I'm now going to get changed in the showers in there. So now suddenly, whilst we're embracing a new change in what we're embracing, now they've took away my confidence that I had to be just around women. There was changes that we at one time were in ladies' changing rooms comfortable. Suddenly we're now embracing a different change in our society. And that was another part of something that was having to kind of say, yeah, the bit that we're trying to make them comfortable, but the ones that were comfortable, and now it's making them uncomfortable too. So there was this conversation kicking off. And whilst we were in the football pitch trying to play football, majorly, there was still a great stigma attached to he said, she said, because again, people are in transitional stages in their personal life. And we're also in transitional stages of education of the change that's going on. And my children have been quite good because they've made me politically correct. Mum, you can't say that. And I said, oh, I never said anything to upset anybody. Yeah, but Mum, you can't say that. It's not politically correct. We're now in a different level of education now in the world, completely in a different level of education, that diversity, inclusion, and equality. Our football group that we set up was that was actually created for it was inclusion over ability. Everybody was included. Everybody was included, whether they can play football or not, because it was friendly community well-being place. There was an inclusion, not ability. We all learned. So got to that bit, got that cleared, scored hat trick, 5 lots of goals. I do a Bollywood dance whenever I score a goal. You should see me on the football pitch. It's hilarious to see me shake my ass on there when I've scored a goal. It's honestly, they're like, oh my God, get Gaza scoring it, missing her dance moves on the, on the pitch. So that led me to be invited by the North Wales Dragons co-founder to be one of the directors of the club. You see once again how you can see my tragedy, how I worked with it, the right people supported it and grew within the space and wanted to improve within it. And then you're invited to be a director. Those are the things that really kind of got me. But throughout the whole process of my journey, everything has on the parallel to my running the journey of the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly. I've also maintained education always. I've studied online. I've studied with people. I've gone and done different experiences, and I've been able to create a changing, different version of a Gaz in my life because it is. And when I then got asked to be the chairperson of the country of Wales, as though, like I say, just when I'm thinking I've done really well, and I take on this title of chairperson of Wales, and now I'm representing my country. I've been asked to speak at the university in Bangor for equality, gender equality, everything in diversity, and how a journey of somebody who couldn't string a word together. 3 words, I want this, and now I'm like taking on a country to lead the example and being a peace ambassador for United Nations. And then my 35 years of work led for me to be receiving at the Houses of Parliament in the UK the honorary doctorate for humanitarianism and that work. And that's where it's led me to many doors where I speak now and share the journey, the work I've done, and into writing my book 2, 3, 4, and 5, which I'm in the middle of, and a film to publish once I've completed those books. But I am still Gaz, the girl next door. Okay, back to you, Rini, and I'll answer any questions anybody has.
Wow, 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 wow. What an incredible story, inspiring story. Wow. I'm just so amazed with you and so blessed to have you here. So, with that, I know each of us have our own experiences. It may not be as dramatic as what that's went through. Oh my gosh. But let's just go around and share our story. Mo, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. That story was so incredibly remarkable, and it's I grew up in an immigration port, so all my friends were from all around the world: Lebanese, Pakistan, Middle Eastern, Asian, and a lot of white kids too, because they're right across from England and Ireland and Nova Scotia. But it was so I loved growing up that way because you weren't invited. if you were invited to a party or weren't invited to a party, it had nothing to do with who you worshiped, who you loved, or what you look like. It had to do whether you're a jerk or not. And I'm guarding my words. And so that's always I believe in the content of character, like how you show up in the world. So my mission is much like yours, is to help women or but just humans in general to lean into their gifts and talents, to understand that everyone here has a mission that, and it begins with self-love, not in a narcissistic way, but to know that you matter, that your contribution matters, what you're here to do matters. It matters to you, it matters to a higher being, it matters to society. So my question is, um, my biggest thing is, and I do this, my part of my brand is showing up perfectly imperfect. Like I do videos with no makeup. I do videos just when things hit me. And yeah, I do need better marketing. But what are your thoughts on speaking? I think it's Brene Brown talks about speaking from the scar versus the wounds. So something I do, like I'll video yesterday, like I struggle with taking my supplements and vitamins every day. I hate it. I'm like a 3-year-old. I'm like, I don't want to take them. It's just, I'm always afraid I'm going to choke on them. I go through this whole thing. So I wanted to share that so that people, even a nutrition coach, even a fitness coach, even someone lives a healthy lifestyle, we have these silly little struggles as well. So when you say a shield, what parts of you do you show? What parts of you do you
Yeah.
that you're not? I'm sure you're not always behind
No,
that.
you're absolutely right. And it's a beautiful question as well. So people have seen the challenges I've gone through. They've seen my tears. They've
Mhm.
seen the tears, but it's what we do when we share the tears.
Mhm.
Some people stay with tears. I share that I've gone through a heartache, that pain, that reason for it, so people can understand. And how did I turn around that tearful moment? So no matter where the scar is, what do we put on it to heal? It's so that people have a way of navigating through the hurt. So my bit of the book was I don't want to stay and everybody think I've lost my husband and is so sad and end with that. No. I got hurt. I wasn't the first to lose a loved one. I will not be the last to lose a loved one. Is what did I do from losing my loved one to make a difference, not only to navigate my own journey to come through it, but also how am I making a difference to others and who is with me on board for us collectively to do that?
Yeah, yeah. Like the empowerment piece is just like you're speaking to my soul. I love that. My messy desk back here. I'm so sorry. See, perfectly
Wow.
imperfect. But it's this is wonderful. It's a message that everyone needs to hear. Every single being on this planet, no matter whether you live in a little village in Pakistan to a booming city in England, we all have a purpose and a meaning here. So thank you for being a voice for that. And I hope that you're a wonderful model, and I hope I can model that as well
Oh,
from that little corner of Houston, Texas, USA.
thank you so
Wow.
much. I love that feedback, and you're absolutely right in bringing that because people do say, "Gaz, do you have ugly moments?" They always think I look lovely, and I'm like, I have. So when I did actually post an ugly moment of mine, they're like, "That's ugly? Oh my God!" So they didn't think it was. It was for me. But again, how we see ourselves to how others see us is different, different as well. But being real is important. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And the energy you bring too. I think, like when I think I'm feeling ugly and people say, you look great. I'm thinking like, you must love me because yeah, but it's the energy we bring as well. Because we reflect that light and then people see it in themselves and it reflects
Yes,
back on you. It's a beautiful thing.
it is totally. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Love that. Love your question. And thank you so much. Jessica, go ahead.
What an amazing trajectory. And also the way that you spun it, not in a like negative way, but in a positive way, that you just at every juncture you took what life gave you and then like you said, internally referenced what is my next positive step. And, I'm sure there were ups and downs and mistakes and scraped knees and everything like that. But there were a couple of things that I really appreciate what you said. And one of them was what I just mentioned about internally referencing, about checking in with your gut and with yourself to make sure that there was a resonance there. And my husband and I have this rule when we're making big life decisions. We call it, I've mentioned this before in this group, we call it a double yes. So both of us have to say absolutely, resonantly yes before we make any major life decisions. And that has served us really well. And the times when one or the other didn't acknowledge that, we realized what a mistake it was. Now I wrote down something else. Oh, you said you were the warrior or the warrioress in your life. And every part of your story proves that to be true. So thank you for being that exciting, shining example. You know, I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Jessica, for that. Yeah, and as we often hear, don't we, the word, some people are warriors and some are warriors. And again, similar to what Mo said before, is again, we do have scars, we do have that, but it's how we show up. And you know, when I picked up my award as a beautiful survivor, I didn't go out to pick up an award just because I was nearly going to be killed. I went through a journey. How did I, in my life where I was nearly going to be killed and running through life and death ordeal, how did I still help others in my own dire straight situation? Is how do we show up helping others? But nobody knows. When I was teaching the dance, Bollywood dance, to all the students, my Martin was dying, but I was showing up to teach dance, to dance his energy. But I was showing up and nobody knew till after Martin passed away. They said, oh my God, in the teaching of the class, you know, I had youngsters, I had seniors, and I was teaching. Nobody ever knew Gaz was hurting and crying. Her world was breaking, yet she was fulfilling ours with joy. Nobody knew that. It's how we show up and how we stay professional about it. Yeah. Thank you,
I
Jessica,
love
for
that. I love it. So many nuggets we learn from you, Gas.
yeah.
Mary Ann, I know you went through story. You can't, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you, guest, to be here. And yeah, it was I can relate to that story, but how you turned it around, as Mo and Jessica was saying, that's the key. Because a lot of people have horrible stories. Actually, your story, because you had Martin, you were in a much better situation and advantage than many other women that what they're going through. But the way you turned around all of the crisis into something that right now you're showing, and it turned you to who you are today. So when I have my academy, definitely I would invite you to be one of the speakers.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you, Miriam. Yes, absolutely, with pleasure, because again, together we are making a mark as we make a change in the world for the better. So with pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, every time we think that we have it bad, somebody else have it worse. So thank you for that. Lachelle, you're next.
Thank you. And guys, oh my gosh, I love your story. And it's interesting because I grew up with a lot of Pakistanis and Indians around me, and I didn't really interact with them that much. And through my life, and my dad, I grew up in Canada also, and through my life, my dad had all these doctors coming over that he was training. He was working in a training hospital, and he was always in charge of like shepherding them. So we had a lot of them in our home to make them feel welcome because that's how my dad was. He'd, bring home everyone. And now I work with primarily Indians and Pakistanis. So seeing you and hearing your story and knowing so many of these people in my life, I love your story. And I think so many people aren't aware of the struggles that still happen that are similar to your stories of people who, and thank heavens your father was that you were gifted with the intelligence and the abilities to negotiate, and that he was a reasonable person. I mean, what a blessing for you, because if anywhere along the way something had been different, your story would have been different. And I'm so grateful that you just kept leaning in and leaning in and leaning in. And what a blessing to your children, for you and Martin to have come together and to teach and give hope to so many other people. So, and I've been working with refugees since September. One of my friends runs a school that teaches English as a second language. And so as you were talking about your immigration story, I actually texted them and told them what your first sentence was. And so I just felt like so many connections on so many different levels. So thank you so much for sharing. You're such a beautiful speaker and such a great storyteller. So thanks for sharing.
Thank
Oh,
you.
so thank you so much for that. And yeah, you're right. In when we are actually putting ourselves out there with that story, and people don't know, the story could have been different, totally different. And that is the difference, is how we take it and navigate with it. And my dad, even though I was lucky, because again, he brought us to UK for a better life and education. And so, we were learning, weren't we? So it would be going against what he wanted for a better life. But he used to call me his VIP. And I said, of course, Dad, I'm your daughter. I should be a very important person. He said, no, my dear, you are my very impressive Pakistani. That's what you are. So that was quite endearing. I have my official title of VIP now.
I love that. I love that. Just to remind you, it's 9 o'clock, so we're gonna be going a little bit over. Gas, are you okay with that?
It's fine. I'll also put my link, everybody. I know some people may have to go, but I'll put the link in there so you can just have a
Okay.
navigation of that as well. Yeah.
Judy, you're next. Yeah,
Hi,
thank you.
thank you. Thank you. What a beautiful story. And Michelle, everything that you just said, I am going to just say mirror everything. And recently I've been learning about spirituality and um, energy and lights and light energy and things like that. And it just resonated with me that you were just born with this heart that is just outside of your human boundary that you have. It's just it's amazing how what I've learned recently and what it says to me right now to say to you is that you picked you, and the challenges that you have had to overcome. You were asked, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" You're going to have to. So we come back and we come back and we come back and we come back again and again to raise our energy, our vibration, and our light to bring this humanity up another level, another level, another level. And so anyway, I'm just so grateful to hear your story today. And so you're just resonating loudly to me. So your internal compass and your intelligence and mainly your heart. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
Judy.
much. That's beautiful words. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Feel quite tearful with the lovely feedback that it has touched you guys, because when Rini and I talked about this subject, it is such an important one on the journeys we're all at and the different parts of the world. But like sisterhood, we are all different parts, but in the same space. And that's a beautiful, respectful space. So wonderful feedback. Thank you.
thank you. Jane, you're next.
Hello, Gaz.
Hello, Jane. How are you, my darling?
Oh, darling, it's so good to see you. And when
And
I
you.
saw you were on the roster, I said, "Oh, I've got to get in on this."
Oh,
Um,
bless you. Thank you.
yeah, what an inspiration. It's so good. And I never get tired of hearing just the level of positivity that you help to bring us all to through your stories. Uh, by all means, everybody pick up her book. You'll love it. It's a beautiful love story, a tribute to Martin and her kids. And yeah, it's just so good to see you and to have you fill us today. So
Oh,
Yes,
namaste. Thank you so much, Jane. And Jane
you, Jane.
has received my book. I have a picture of her with my book. So the book, which
Oh,
is
wow.
Loved, Lived, Lost, and in my link that I've put, you will see the link to the book in there as well. That
I'll
the
get
other
one today, Gas.
Yeah,
yeah, you
absolutely.
have
And all
to.
I ask people to do is just put a lovely review of your thoughts on it, because the book was never done for money. It was my heartache to park somewhere so I can breathe some life back to me and to get in a place now with it. But Jane has known me for many years now and knows the story. We've had our private one-to-ones, and you know, when people get you and they're there and they show up as well, again, it's another sign of the respect that you receive from people being there and echo those beautiful words. So thank you, my darling Jane. Thank you.
Thank you. Omeka or Sue, either of you, I know you don't have your camera on. Hi, Sue. I'm sorry about your dog. She just lost her dog.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so sorry. You're muted, Sue.
Oh, sorry. Hi. I'm so grateful to have popped back onto the women's group this morning so that I could hear your presentation. I've been gone for quite a while. I have a conflicting meeting on Thursday mornings, but I'm away for a couple months, so I can at least pop on for a couple months. But your story is just it's just an incredible example for not just young women, but for young men to hopefully be learning from as well, so that they can learn how to better respect and support the women in their life. Your heart is just so beautiful. Your relentless drive and determination, paired with education, has put you on this platform where you're serving and healing so many and encouraging. And wow, what a treat to be here this morning to hear you. And I'm a little overwhelmed by your story and just very touched. So I just want to say thank you. And wow, I'm so glad I popped back on today.
I'm so glad. And Sue, first of all, again, sorry about the loss of your little doggy. My daughter's a vet, so I know about us dealing with losses of animals and how much they are our family and how much life they have. So sending big warm hugs for you for that one. And something you just said is the story for men to hear too, because men need to understand where women are, what women have fought with, where they are, and the stories that men should have that bigger, better respect of a woman's journey and from a women point of view, but also they are involved within our life. And we have men that are a good part of our life. Martin was the good one. My brother was the bad one. And, you know, there are examples of the men in our lives as well that make us who we are and the journey. So, but yeah, the story should be heard more as well in the men world too. But you're right. Thank you for giving me great feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue, for being here. Oh, sorry again about your dog. And Mo was saying she has 3 sons and Sue has 2 sons, so that's why it is important.
Yeah.
I don't have any son, but still, yeah, I think it's important for everyone to hear this story. Omeka, hello, my dear. What are your thoughts here?
Oh, lots of thoughts. Thank you for um, telling your story. It gives me courage and true inspiration to share my story and to hear other stories without judgment or just an embracing love for humanity and for forgiveness and for courage to keep standing, and stand strong and have a purpose and know our purpose, and know my purpose in life. And whatever happens, happens. And whatever we want to make of it, we do. And yeah, it brought up some of my trials and tribulations and anger and violence. And as you were talking, I didn't realize it, but I went upstairs to look for something, and my dog had chewed up, speaking of dogs, chewed up some wood, and I thought he was chewing on the furniture, and I kicked him, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I apologized to him. I didn't kick him real hard, but I was just like mad. And it was an opportunity for me to forgive him and, give him some love and realize that it was a piece of wood. And, I banned him I closed the doors and I've closed the doors on my past in a sense. So it's an interesting metaphor. And I move on and he will still be in the house and he has his purpose and being a symbol of protection and unconditional love, animals do, and be for us. And yeah, cultures coming together and men and women energy and yeah, again, forgiveness and violence and what role does it have and how does it move us forward in continuing to love and give to others and be the best that we can be is what
Yeah,
what I
absolutely.
got. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, you're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Almeka. And thank you also. You said, to give you encouragement to speak your story. I think that's also important because there are so many different stories unheard yet that could change because we've got many parallels along the journey and it's picking up the strength from one to another. Sisterhood support is part of that. And again, we're thankful for Rini having this platform for us to share and give that respect, understanding, confidence. And the kind of final things for me really to share what helps me get through and what I've come through to where I'm at right now is that every day is a blessing to every day is a full of heartfelt gratitude for being here and for the people that have allowed me the space to be me again, like Rini today, and forgiveness because we all go through different moods or different circumstances or different vulnerability that we act differently at times than we would otherwise. So, in your case, Almika, just, even with the dog chewing away, right? There was a momentary thing that you wouldn't otherwise have done, but at that point, it was a reaction, and but again, you ask for forgiveness. And as long as we remember the forgiveness part of it, there's the humanity right there because we took action of something that we reacted to. So bless you. Lovely to have you here as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Omeka. You're always been a blessing to all of us. And Gas, oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration and a blessing. Thank you so much for your presentation, sharing your life story, beautiful life story. I'm going to get the book today. Um, yeah, and to all of you, I think that I'm kind of reminded we all may go through different journey in life, but we're all the same, really, at the heart, the core of it, we're all the same. So thank you again. So Gas, before we close here, it's 9:12 now. Thank you for staying longer. If you want to have your last parting words before you do that, let me just tell you next week, Jessica Waters will be presenting The Mess and the Miracle, basically about looking inward when you have a lot of clutter in your house and everywhere. Sometimes it's a reflection of where you are within. So that's kind of her topic next week. So again, thank you, Gas. And if you want to just say your final words before we say goodbye here.
Thank you. Thank you. And once again, thanks to all of you sisters here today with every word that you've shared and the love you've shared and the respect that you have shown me for me opening up to you like this. I think the key things that help me now have peace and comfort in myself every day is, first of all, every day I wake up, it is a day of gratitude because I'm here. And I look at the people that warm my heart and I give them blessing because it's not about just taking, it's about giving as well. Every day when I close my eyes to go to sleep, I say today has been a good day because I look at what did I get? Three things or one thing that has really worked out, whether it was the sun shining or whether somebody gave me a hug. Somebody at work gave me a hug and they said, "We're so glad to have you here." I work in a hospice every day. It's an end of life care hospice. And for me, as a role that I play in there, is helping that hospice be funded. And it takes a great deal of strength and stamina working in a place where every day there's a life lost. And so I always say, thank you for the day, for what we have and how we turn it around. And the final words of comfort is what is meant for us will not pass us, and what passed us was not meant for us. And everything I take on board of every movement and every second of the journey that I'm on, I always say this was exactly what was meant for me and exactly where I should be and exactly what I can learn from it and exactly as I will venture out in my strong inner self-belief that I'm here for a purpose and I'll fulfill that. And to share that and to be heard is wonderful. And once again, I'm very lucky. Today's been a good day to share. And thank you to Rini, grateful for Rini to give me the opportunity, and full of gratitude to you all for sharing it and accepting me in what I've shared, open-hearted story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, Gaz, and everyone. It has been a good day, and it will be a great week. So with that, have a great weekend. We hope to see you back here again. Thank you again. See you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.